Yo. We're gonna get to one of the new records. Oh yeah, you can get these hats. MBR apparel exclusively. but we're gonna get to one of these records. We're gonna get into this content. Funny. The records we about to play. It's the same records, the topics that we're gonna be talking about. So yeah. Um, fuck with us one time. I know what time it is. That's the breadwinner. Big General Commandments out right now. Y'all can get that on all platforms. But what we gonna tap into today, man. Independent artists, uh, we're under attack. We're officially under attack. We're under attack. Yeah, we're under attack. Um, if you're using ads, any type of promo, any type of services getting you on a playlist or anything, they're flagging your music, they're taking it down. If you got under 1,000 streams, they're making you pay to be on these platforms. Spotify is one of the big ones. They're really pushing it. They're pushing it. How I know is because it happened to us. Um, yeah, it happened to us. And then when we spoke about it on here the first time, they flagged us. They gave us a copyright strike. They didn't take our page down or nothing, but they actually gave us a copyright strike about it. For talking about it. Uh, now they really can't do nothing about it. But what happened was, we had got with TuneCore almost. We've been with them for almost 7 years now. Um, Majority of our catalog is over there. Over 300 songs. Some like albums combined, some like almost 15, 20 albums over there collectively. My artists, myself. And so we was also distributing our music on physical copies too. So we wasn't really paying attention to the streams like that because we were selling out in our city in the local stores. Because if y'all don't know, um, Best Buy, uh, Target, Walmart, they do not carry explicit music. So um, we couldn't put our music on in them stores because it has explicit titles on it. So we went and dropped them off to the mom and pop stores, the corner stores, stuff like that. Worked out deals with them, made a percentage with them, and we were selling that way. Um, we had to register through Harry Fox. If you guys know who Harry Fox is, that's who register your hard copies to help you keep track of your sales, through your barcodes and everything. Because they got rid of Sound Exchange, so they came out with Harry Fox. So instead of Sound Exchange, because we was on Sound Exchange too. Um, so we weren't really paying attention to the streams. And then we were contacted by actually Harry Fox, and so we hadn't got a royalty statement in like almost, cause it's 4 quarters in a year, so it was like almost 5 quarters. So they're like, well, you need to look into this. So we sat down, did the numbers, looked into it, figured out that they wasn't paying us our royalties. Now, mind you, we were with them before they got any sponsorships, any of these other artists that's in the industry, start promoting them, um, anything. We were one of the first companies that got with them. And at first, we were only selling on our website. And they said we were crazy for doing that. We were the only people really talking about distributing and streaming off our own website. Nobody was doing that at that time. This is around like 2018, 2017. Nobody was doing that. And so everybody kept saying, yo, you need to put your music on these platforms. I was against it at first. I said, man, nah, they're going to buy from us. That was my first intent out the gate. I said, they want our music, they're going to buy from us. If you want something from me, you got to come get it from me. But at that time, they really didn't have the software for you to be able to stream directly off the platforms. You're like websites like they got now. So um, we worked out a thing through PayPal to where you can be able to buy the singles, buy the records, listen to the records, stream the records or whatever. And we was getting a percentage to PayPal that way. And so we wasn't really keeping track of the streams as far as them. So I wasn't really tripping on the real numbers for the streams because we were selling physicals. It wasn't because I knew what the percentage of at that time you had to sell for one record sale, you had to sell like 1,500 streams for one album sale. I think it was like 1,500 streams. They just moved up to like 2,500 now. They keep moving the goalpost back. For one record album sale, somebody got to stream your record 1,500 times for one album sale. So I said, man, fuck that. We just gonna sell directly. You know what I'm saying? Mark our shit about $11, $12, and sell it in. So then we end up opening up MBR Apparel, the store. And then you can buy it directly from us then. And we also had them in stores around our city. So it worked. We sold out, you know. We didn't it's crazy because they wanted to charge me to buy me. I had to buy it's crazy because actually it was Stacks actually. Um they wanted me to pay like $900 for a plaque for him. I'm like, what? If we make, why the hell would we have to pay for our own plaque? Like, so that was through disc makers. If we was to buy the record through disc makers, like the hard CDs, I mean the blank CDs through disc makers, and then have them put them up and sell them that way. Because if you buy 1,500 CDs or how many ever CDs you buy, they give you a plaque through disc makers. So we found a way we was able to buy the blanks through Amazon, and we bought our own printer and our own distributor machine. Cost me a couple dollars for that damn thing, and we printed up our own shit. And then we licensed it through Harry Fox, and that's how we was able to keep track of our numbers. So they contacted us and told us we need to look into this. So we looked into it, and at that time, I think we was with them for like 5 years, man. But like one year, we dropped a album every month for 12 months. So we dropped 12 albums in a year, and they all consisted damn near from 1 to 8 to 1 to 12 records on the tracks on there. So um, you got to think that's a big catalog on their platform. You know what I mean? So our royalty numbers wasn't adding up. And if anybody knew anything about TuneCore, you got to do a lot of emailing to get in touch with them. A lot of emailing, unless they sponsor you, like they doing guys like Papoose and them. So I got tired of that. That was one. Two, for 5 years, we found out that shit they had stole over $75,000 off us. 5 years, he was missing over 70 grand. Now, mind you, we're an independent company. Everything we put out is under our own dollar. Our lawyers is under our own dollar. I have to pay my lawyers to go to court with these motherfuckers. The fight was a lose-lose. So, if anybody know anything about platforms, you have a subscription. So what I did was, I said, okay, we're gonna leave. We're gonna leave. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave. We're gonna wait to every record that's on their platform. Subscription is over. I mean, they take the records down off the platforms, off the streaming platforms, and we're gonna distribute them to somebody else. So we shopped around. Sound Coast is one of them. We put a project over there. F is still over there. They never even bothered us about it. Plus, like I said, we were paying you had to pay like Every year, there's a certain amount of money. If you add up 200 fucking records over 20 some albums, it's a lot of money. Um, every year, the records that come up for however long we pay for them will come up for renewal. And so I just started taking the music down off of there and distributing it with somebody else. At first, it was cool. They wasn't. They didn't catch it. So then I found a company. Shout out to them. Shout out to Good Morning Music, man. Gotta give them a shout out. You actually can get them guys on the phone. You actually can talk to those guys. Uh, work out whatever plan you got. They keep track of your royalties. They show you what you made right there on your page and all that. So we liked their service. So I said, okay, we're gonna fuck with them. So we start putting our catalog over there. At the same time we were doing that, we built the podcast. Now, when we built the podcast, we were contacted by Red Circle. Shout out to Red Circle. They're distributing our podcast right now. That's why I don't really trip about our numbers on um, YouTube, because they're distributing us everywhere, all over the world. So YouTube numbers, views, doesn't really matter to us. I mean, it's check or whatever, but um, and every month, weekly and monthly, they send us our numbers, how many impressions and how many websites or whatever fucked with our podcast. So, but at the same time, they made us. Uh, um, they put our music and our um, podcast on the national playlist. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They put us on the national playlist, which at that time we wasn't on no playlist, so it never caught them what we were doing, that we were moving our music. All they knew was the subscription wasn't getting renewed, and we own the masters and the copies and everything, so we moved them. But once we put them on the national playlist, they put our podcast and our music on the national playlist. It boosted our streams because we had more engagement to our music. We was already getting looked overseas and all that and getting streamed overseas through them. Now we're back on the same platforms, and now our brand is on a playlist, and that pissed them off. So with the money and the influence they had, they contacted Good Morning Music and said, hey, you got McGuffey Records um, catalog over there. And we think with the numbers that we have that they're getting illegal streams, which they knew was a lie. But if you get to removing, like I said, 300 records, 30 some albums, it's a lot of money they were making a year, yearly per record. Every record had a timeline on it. So they were with that, they said, hold on. They put their hand down. We're gonna come back. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna get back to another record. We're gonna finish this.
All pack, stupid mustard like pussy, just winning phone. MBR mob shit, it's too late, nigga, just to get on. I'm a big dog to the game, I can never be cloned. I'm a dog in the field trying to feast for a bone. MBR with a mob, nigga. They asking one day I'm gonna drive, nigga. My boss's bitches in too high, nigga. It's on the way, just wise, nigga. MBR with a mob, nigga. They asking one day I'm gonna drive, nigga. My boss's bitches is too high, nigga. It's on the way, just wise, nigga. Cool breeze. Sit back for the cool breeze. Sit back and come and take a ride in that leg and show that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that coochie. I'ma recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Just take a ride in that lake, baby girl, enjoy that cool breeze. Sit back and come and take a ride in that lake, enjoy that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that coochie. I'm gonna recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Just sitting back and take a ride and like enjoy that cool breeze. Shorty wanna take a ride in that leg. She get in recline the seat and then I break her back. She like, God damn, yeah, I see they call you stacks. I'm like a general command, but she know just where it's at. If it's you know I murder, yeah, I kill, I straight attack. With that cool breeze, got your bitch in the back of the leg, and she on her knees, make her saying, ooh wee. She like, damn, daddy, you the one who I need. Sit back and come and take a ride in that leg and show that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that coochie. I'ma recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Just take a ride in that lake, baby girl, enjoy that cool breeze. Sit back and come and take a ride in that lake, enjoy that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that coochie. I'm gonna recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Just sitting back and take a ride and like enjoy that cool breeze. So you better get your hoe, dog, she begging me, please. Don't want your bitch, you know she ain't too good for me. That's why these hoes play you lames, cause you're foolery. You need to take your ass straight back to school, my G. Cause it's just levels to the shit and you confused, I see. Why you hating on the play or something you never be. So back and come and take a ride and like enjoy that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that Gucci. I'ma recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Ay, just take a ride and I like, baby, girl, enjoy that cool breeze. Ay, sit back and come and take a ride and I like, enjoy that cool breeze. My hands gripping on your thighs when I'm rubbing on that Gucci. Ay, I'm gonna recline my seat, baby, we can make a movie. Just sitting back and take a ride and like enjoy that cool breeze.
Yeah, we have to take that break. Crazy, it's hard, man. You run in a clothing store,
Ryan
you
Reynolds here
do it
from
by
Mint Mobile.
yourself.
With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought
It's kind of hard, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But so they ain't really feel that. They ain't feel that at all. So what they did was they contacted them and said, "Hey, I got MBR compound. I mean MBR catalog over there. Yeah, we got it. Well, we think they got illegal streams. Here were their numbers. It went from here to here. Never told them anything about the red circle that we signed the deal, which they knew. Never mentioned that. So it scared Good Morning Music because they're a smaller company. They just started. They're trying to build relationships. They're trying to grow. It's a business move. So what do? They pull our music that we had. Right now, as this is going on, we're noticing our music is getting pulled. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? Email them. They get back with me, yo. They saying, you know, might got some illegal streams somewhere. I'm like, what? I was hip to the bots and all that because I was, it was a couple mainstream artists that got caught up with that shit. So I was I was prevalent to that. I understood. I knew about it. So I'm like, nah, we ain't never go that route. I ain't no. But I knew that we were putting our music off of that platform, off of TuneCore. So I'm like, it got to be them. So at first they wasn't trying to hear me. They're like, we don't know. I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, bro, it's them. They're doing this. They know we're moving our music off of their platform, and they ain't on that shit. So we sat there for a minute. We still had some music out up under them, but there was a couple titles that was newly released from a couple of our artists. Hurt me. That hurt me. And we ain't got the type of money to be fighting these motherfuckers in court. How the hell we gonna get this up? How the hell we gonna win this battle? So I said, damn money, how the fuck we gonna win this? I said, you know what? I got an idea. So the same records that they moved was supposed to be released up under them. But once we found out that the money was missing, we didn't drop the music over there. We dropped it on another platform. So some of the information and uh, some of the songs and whatever wasn't on there, but the information was, the UPC numbers was, that type thing. So I said, okay. We're gonna release it up under them. And that's what we did. So we took, and it was actually Stack's record. Shout out to Stack's the Breadwinner. It was his album. We re-released it up under TuneCore. But once we re-released it up under TuneCore and it went through, we emailed the other distribution company and said, look, this is the same record that they said had illegal streams on it, right? They told you to pull down. Well, if it had illegal streams on it, why are they releasing it and distributing it? So in turn, we want y'all to put all the music back up that y'all took down. And they did it. And that's how we won. Kudos to me. But it also showed me TuneCore ain't gonna let us leave. Or not. But as this was going on with me, at the same time, artists were starting to come out saying other platforms and other distributors were doing the same thing to them. DistroKid, a few other ones were coming out and were flagging people records, taking their records down and saying they had illegal buy streams. And some of them artists went through and paid for promotions to get put on playlists. And they called that illegal streams. So independent artists were under attack. So I'm gonna go into a video and I'm gonna let y'all see them talking about the illegal streams that the distribution companies are doing. And they're flagging artists' music and they're taking it down. So we're gonna get into that right now. Distribution company and illegal streams and music being taken off of playlists. Mm-hmm.
course I can.
Is it for real?
Of course.
For distributing my music to online services like Spotify, I use an online distributor called Amuse. I've been a happy customer of theirs for more than 2 years, but it all changed last Tuesday when I received this email from them. So according to them, there has been abnormal streaming activity on my releases, and because of that, they have frozen my account and removed all my music from streaming services. By abnormal streaming activities, I suppose they meant bots that listen to music instead of real people. I know there are sites out there that promise a certain amount of plays in exchange for some money, but I swear I have never used services like that. And I also advise anyone I work with to not use services like that. So yeah, I don't really know what happened. I sent them a mail back asking for more information. A day later, someone from Amuse contacted me back with the following message. The majority of streams on your released material have been flagged as fake by our system. This can happen if you, for example, use an illegitimate promotion service that guarantees a specific number of streams. You can read more about it here. Blah, blah, blah. Our decision in this case is final and will not be reconsidered. This means you are no longer going to be able to distribute music through Amuse, but you are of course free to use a different distributor. Okay, so they claimed that the majority of my streams are fake. So let's have a look at my streaming numbers. In the last 3 months, I barely had 380 streams on all of my music in total, which is almost nothing. And now they claim most of those streams are fake as well. And look, all the music I work on are collabs with other people where I do the beat and they make the vocals. It is possible that another artist that I worked with might have artificially boosted the stream somehow. But then I would also suppose that this would show up in the stats, no? And second of all, why is my account permanently banned without any proof that I actually did something wrong? I replied with another email asking them why these streams would be fraudulent. I told them that if there were fake streams, it was definitely not a result of any of my actions. I also asked if this is really final, then can I please have my money back that I paid for another year of your pro plan? I just paid a month back for a new year, so... And I also asked them if they could please reconsider, because I'm under the impression that the system that flagged me is not correct. A day later, I got an email back, and it just mentioned that I violated their terms, so they won't be refunding me. In my opinion, I never did anything that violated their terms of service, so this kind of feels like a false accusation to me. Also, they still have not provided me with any proof or explanation why they suppose that this is the case, just that I was flagged by an automated system. I then got back to them with this email. I have not violated any of your terms of use. I have not manipulated streams. You guys have also not provided me with any proof that streams have been manipulated. You cannot just claim that I somehow violated your terms of use without proof. Please show me the necessary proof that my streams are manipulated. I can assure you that I have not manipulated any streams or taken any action that might have caused a direct manipulation in streams. Even if it were the case that there might have been a manipulation, it was definitely not a result of any of my actions. As such, it makes no sense that my account has been frozen. Also, could you guys at least let me know what streaming platform falsely flagged my streams as fraudulent? This way I can at least refrain from distributing my music to that platform in the future. And then 2 hours later, I got this back. We have an advanced data system in place that can easily spot fraudulent streaming patterns. It takes into account a wide variety of factors, making it very reliable. We cannot provide specific details surrounding this, but are certain that there has been artificial streaming activity on your released material. Our decision in this case is final and will not be reconsidered. This means you are no longer going to be able to distribute music through Amuse, but you are of course free to use a different distributor. This email is basically a big middle finger. That automatic system must be flawless and I'm the one to blame here. Also, they still have not shown any actual proof or anything that might have indicated fake streams to them. This started to become really frustrating. Because of that, I sent them back this email. Being a software engineer myself, I know how AI and detection systems work, and to anyone in that field, it is well known that these systems can sometimes produce false positives. As such, I don't think a positive detection by such a system alone can ever suffice as proof that there were artificial streams. The least you could do for a paying customer is have an actual human look at the data and confirm that the system is not malfunctioning. Please provide me with the actual proof. Please also provide the following data to me: what songs, what streaming services, and at which time did this happen. I will not just let this pass, and if you guys fail to provide me proof and proper data, I will take further action. Look, I don't think you can accept money for a service, then make a false claim without showing any actual proof, and then use that as a reason to not provide your services anymore. A service that you accepted money for. What kind of company does that? Shul then replied, we understand this situation isn't ideal, but please note that all the information we use to base our decisions is directly sent from music stores, therefore there isn't any AI algorithm with potential incorrect data. The problem might not be that the data that is fed to the AI algorithm is incorrect, but rather that the data coming out of the AI algorithm is incorrect. We have information from Spotify that they have withheld over 80% of your streams for October 2023 and over 100% in November and December 2023. With this in mind, and considering that fraudulent streaming is against our terms of use and the stores, we took action against your account. Anyway, still no proof, but I finally get some information. They say that the data that streams are fake comes from Spotify, and they also gave a time period from when this happened. So of course I then had a look at my Spotify stats for that specific period, but I noticed nothing out of the ordinary. It's been some time since I've released a song, and I also don't really have a big following, so there have barely been any streams at all. But yet they claim that 100% of these streams are fake as well, so I guess then no one is listening to my music. For a second I thought streams per listener was high, but then I noticed it was a decimal, so 769 divided by 153 is 5.026. I told Shul their findings were ridiculous, and I presented them with the data from my Spotify stats. And then I just got another reply back from them telling they would not reconsider. By the way, this is actually not the first time this has happened to me. My first distributor was Lander. There something similar happened. They did end up restoring my account, but it took weeks. And by the time I had already switched to Amuse. It's quite frustrating that this happens again now, and there seems to be nothing I can do about it. Because of that, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. And since Amuse now told me that Spotify were the ones providing them the data about the fake streams, I reached out to someone at Spotify to get some more information. To my surprise, Harish, the person at Spotify, told me that there was no issue and I should just ask my distributor again to upload the metadata so that we can take the releases back live again. I thought this was weird, so further in the conversation, I asked them if they actually informed Amuse that plays are fake. I was quite surprised to hear Harish say Spotify doesn't give artists strikes for artificial streaming, but distributors operate their own strikes policies. I had always heard that Spotify did do such things, but according to Harish, that is incorrect and it's all up to the distributors. Since I had also seen nothing special in the stats, I also wasn't sure if fake streams would actually show up in them. So I also asked Harish if that would be the case, and his answer was yes, but I suppose in that case there should be a higher amount of streams, no? Harish also had a look at my stats and the playlists that I occur in, and he said that I should present the information that I had to my distributor so they can reactivate my account again. Since I had already done that before, this seemed pretty pointless at this point. I actually don't really know how to proceed right now. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but yet these services can just claim that I do without any actual proof. Right now, I can move to another distributor again, but it might not be easy to find one that gives me the option to do automatic splits and also allows me to work with other artists easily. I would also like to keep 100% of my royalties, and not all distributors allow that. Also, what's to say that this won't happen again with another distributor? This also definitely doesn't come at a good time, as I'm preparing to release a new album in the next months. Me and my buddy also Googled around a little bit and found a lot of similar stories. All of the stories were related to Amuse, but there are also similar stories with other distributors. Apparently, Ben Jordan, a big YouTuber, recently also had all of his music removed from streaming platforms. It was for the same reason, but this time the distributor was TuneCore. This story is striking because he has often spoken out against companies that deliver fake plays. There was quite a backlash when his music got removed, so his music is back up again now. But I don't suppose I will be able to have the same impact with this video, given that I don't have a big following like he does. The big problem is that these distributors claim that they care about independent artists, but apparently being flagged by an automated system is reason enough for them to permanently ban a customer without even having an actual human verify that there is a problem. In my opinion, that's not caring, that's just a terrible customer service. Also, an automated system will always make errors. There should be an actual human verifying that the positives that come out of this system are actually positives. I have always been very positive about Amuse, and I have often recommended them to my friends and to other people in the industry. But as of right now, I can no longer recommend them anymore. If you're an artist and you're using Amuse, I suggest you have a backup plan ready. And look, I would still like to have my music back on streaming platforms again, because that's just how most of the people just consume music these days. So if anyone knows a good alternative to a Muse, definitely let me know. I'm specifically looking for a service that allows me to easily release music with other artists and that allows automatic payment splits. Any other good ideas are welcome in the comments as well. I guess this is the end of my rant. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah. See what's going on? They're attacking us. They're attacking us. They're attacking us. They're attacking us. And they're doing it. And they're getting away with it. And they're blaming it, and the streaming platforms are blaming it on uh, the distributors. And distributors are blaming on the streaming platforms. But when in turn, I found out the real reason. The real reason is if you don't have over 1,000 spins, they're charging you. And when they charge you, when they charge you, they're removing your music. hmm Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. What's going on? So everybody's saying, distribute on your own platform and all that. And I just say, look, man, just keep fighting. We had to. Um, but like I said, I knew where ours came from immediately because the music that was on TuneCore didn't get took down. So let me see. Let me see if it's another video. So we can show you. I can show you. Oh man, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. You said what? Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get off this. Wait a minute. Um, I gotta figure out where the fuck we was at. Here we go. Already sweating in this bed. I think they looking for these motherfuckers because these motherfuckers been walking past the house all day. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Take this call. Oh man. Yeah, we're gonna try to. I'm sorry, got a phone call. We're gonna try to. Definitely gonna try to find a another video. We're gonna try to find another video. Let me see. Hold on. I guess I gotta click on do video again to go somewhere else. Go to another one. But like I said, dude gave a lot of insight on his situation. Similar to mine. Very similar. But it's going on. It's definitely going on. Hold on. But like I said, they're trying to they're they're wiping the internet of this because it's becoming a problem. So they're wiping the internet of it. It's crazy, man. I'm going. It's crazy. He got the only video up here. Well, mine's gonna be up here now. Mine's gonna be up here now, but he has the only video. There you go. 4 years ago. No, that's not it. This is 2 days ago. Okay, let's see what she's talking about. She might get.
For royalties. The second we get wind of even a claim of something, but you, the distributor, are going to take the royalties and keep them for yourselves. I have distributed my music through Symphonic, and I was with them for a number of years. Now I'm coming at you today with a review of the terms of service that are currently posted on Symphonic's distribution website. And this is what you sign when you decide to distribute your music through their platform. So whether you realize it or not, this is the contract that you have agreed to if you're going to distribute your music on this platform. And I have been doing this. We have gone through CD Baby, TuneCore, and DistroKid's terms of service. And so we are basically revealing what these contracts say. And I have a couple of specific questions that I'm hoping to address with this video. And the first is in regards to what can this particular distributor do with your royalties? We care about this question very much because, as we've discovered with other music distributors, that they not only reserve the right to take your royalties, sometimes for just a claim, not that there's ever proof, not that something is ever actually made a determination that there are facts, and we have a problem with this. So now we're on a mission to expose these distributors and the terms that they are making you sign in order to get your music on music platforms. So, number one, what can the distributor do with your royalties? Number two, what do you need to know about what's in this contract? And then number three, my experience with Symphonic. I will probably share it with you at the very end of this. But, first and foremost, I'm the attorney here. I've been doing entertainment law and music for 10 years and as an actual musician since I was about 4 years old. So I'm very passionate about all of this. So without further ado, let's take a peek at the Symphonic terms of service. All right, so one of the things we love taking a peek at is when was the last time that they revised this? So last updated, this is from their website, last updated as of July 22, 22. And the reason why we care about that is because what I have found doing the lawyer thing for a long time is that companies have a tendency to make updates to their terms when there's been a problem. They're like, oh my gosh, so for the next time this thing happens, we're going to put it in our terms so everyone has to sign to it and everyone has to agree to it. So they haven't updated it for a few years. And then they go, this kind of made me laugh just a little bit. I go, the terms, this is the agreement, and this is between us, Symphonic, and our affiliates, including but not limited to, and then they list out, they're like, symphonicdistribution.com, symphonics.com, symphonicscms.com, symblo.com. It's just all these ancillary company websites. And so you are agreeing to all of the usages related to these websites. So that just made me laugh for a second. Because normally it's like you're using this website, which is like this website, and that's it. So they went a little above and beyond. But what I found, and I'll say this right out the gate, one of the things that I did find to be interesting with Symphonic's terms of services, that I saw some stuff that I didn't see in any of these other distributor terms of service. And it really caught my eye. For example, when we were kind of going through TuneCore terms of service, what we did notice is that they have like 30% of their terms dedicated to all the ways that they can like take your royalties and come after you for anything that they've given to you and charge your cards and bill interest on money that they're keeping for you in their accounts. Like crazy. Anyway, back to Symphonic. So we're going to focus on the most important stuff that you need to know. These agreements, generally speaking, talk about, hey, you're giving us the right to distribute your music, right? General stuff. So I'm not going to cover the general stuff. I'm going to cover the stuff that really spoke to me. So starting with section 2, those responsibilities. You are responsible for paying any and all costs related to the transmission of data and as otherwise may be required to use the services. Now, the way that they define services is basically use of any of these websites up here, okay? So your use of the services, including with respect to downloading, installing, launching, uploading, streaming, payment processing, and using. So right out the gate, they're like, you're responsible for paying any and all costs related to the transmission of data and as otherwise may be required to use the services. So here's the thing. When I'm reading through these agreements, my job, and when you guys hire me to look at these contracts for you, is to foresee how this stuff can be used against you and how it can sometimes just be so overly broad, because it's like you're agreeing to any and all costs related to the transmission of data to use our services. I'm like, what does that mean? Now, the last time I worked with Symphonic, at least then they had two options as far as they would take like a portion or you could pay a fee. I don't know if they're just doing the percentage deals right now. That seems to be what I hear, because sometimes you guys reach out and you're like, hey, here's the Symphonic terms of service that they want us to sign, and you'll have me review it before you actually sign up on the platform. So anyway, back to this. So we don't really like very overly broad language, but let's move on. So section 2, sub 1, license. Subject to this agreement, Symphonic grants you a non-transferable, non-exclusive, revocable, limited license to use and access the services. Your use of the services is at your own risk. I just like laugh when I go through these agreements. My fundamental issue that we've been just pointing out with these distributors is I'm just like, it pisses me off that musicians and artists and people who make music want to have their stuff online. And in order to play the game and be in the industry, you really should have your music on all music platforms. And I'm all about like direct to fans, sell your stuff on your website just to like make money from your music. But I go, from like just a marketing standpoint, making sure people can hear you. In order to get our music on music platforms, we have to go through distributors. And the issue is that distributors just make their own agreements. And you have to click the button and say, I agree to the terms of service in order to get your music on these platforms. That's my problem. It's not that a company doesn't have the right to say whatever the hell they want in their contract. That's fine. It's that we as artists don't have any bargaining power. We can't ask for revisions. That's my problem. So then it's like, just so you know, your use of our services is at your own risk. And then it goes on multiple places here to be like, and we saw this in most of the distributor agreements. If you get a virus, if you suffer some kind of harm or harassment or like anything under the sun, if anything happens to you, it's not our fault. You used the platform, you knew it. And I'm just like, what is that about? Like, can someone please write an agreement that's reasonable here? So usage at your own risk. Number 3, Symphonic reserves the right at any time to modify, suspend, interrupt, or discontinue the services in whole or in part with or without notice to you. You agree that Symphonic will not be liable to you or any third party for any modification, suspension, or discontinuation of the services or any part thereof. Again, just like, so we can take down your music, anything can happen if the service is discontinued. And this is part of the issues that I have personally had, where something happened that interrupted my business. And we've seen this with many artists, much bigger than me, much bigger than many of us, right? Who will just have their music taken down for an allegation of streaming fraud or something. And so in the spirit of like artists who are actually making really good money from streaming, not all of us do, right? But to the extent that you are running your business and all of a sudden your music is gone because someone makes some kind of claim against you, and it might not actually be based on anything real. Again, this is where I just kind of start to have some of these issues and I go, okay, so Symphonic reserves the right at any time to discontinue, to interrupt the service without any liability to you. Guess that's something else that we just agreed to. Good to know. User content, section 3. You are solely responsible for your music. That's what that definition is for. It's your music. You assume all risks associated with submission of your user content, including in respect to any disclosure of your user content that personally identifies you or any third party. I was like, you assume all risk associated with submitting your music on our platform, including in respect to any disclosure of your music that personally identifies you or any third party. And I'm like, okay, are you talking about like, so if I'm the user and I'm like, I'm dumb, and I make some kind of mistake and I accidentally like put my legal name or something, is that what they're talking about? Or are they saying, because, typically with these companies, they have you put your actual information when you're signing up for an account. A lot of you, in fact, even reach out, to my office and you have me like set up businesses and register trademarks and get copyrights, and you want to remain anonymous. And there's creative ways to do that. So for some people, it's a huge deal. And so I don't know what this pertains to, but this is another example of something that's very broad. You assume all risk in regards to any disclosure of your personal identity. And so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm pausing. That's all we're doing. All I'm doing is just, as I went through this is the stuff that I just noted. I'm like, that's interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here that was just not in other distribution terms of service that we reviewed. All right, so we're still in section 3. Section 3, sub 2. This is the license. You hereby grant, represent, and warrant that you have the right to give Symphonic an irrevocable, we're going to come back to that, non-exclusive, royalty-free, and fully paid worldwide license to reproduce, distribute. Okay, I'm fine with this. This is what they do. You have to give them the license to put your stuff on music platforms, right? To reproduce, distribute, publicly display, perform, prepare derivative works. We're going to come back to that. Of, incorporated into other works, or otherwise use and exploit your content. And you grant some licenses of the foregoing rights for the purposes of including your music in the services. Okay, coming back to this. You give Symphonic an irrevocable right to distribute your music. I did that when I read that word. I did in my head, at least. That's an ugly word right there. When you sign a contract with anyone, with any company, like the whole deal is that, guys, like this is a short-term thing. Symphonic, love ya, but don't plan on like being with you forever. And so the grant of an irrevocable right is, you know, I don't know. Maybe it was missed by their legal counsel. Maybe it wasn't meant to. I don't know. But that's a big word. You're irrevocably giving them the right to distribute your music. So I don't love that. Okay. But also to prepare, so to make, you're giving them the right to make derivative works and incorporate those into other works. And I'm like, what the hell? Is there some again, I was with Symphonic for like a decent amount of time. Is there some service that I'm not aware of where they're like remixing your song or something? So in the grant of rights, that just jumped out to me because I'm like, that is really aggressive and broad, and I don't know why they need that. Because again, going back to these distributors need to have all these rights, right? We don't want to get into trouble because like you gave us permission to distribute your music. I'm fine with all of that, but it's just when there's stuff like this, I'm like, what? 3 sub A, you agree not to use the services to collect, upload, transmit, display, or distribute any of your music that violates any third-party right, including any copyright, trademark, patent, trade secret, moral right, privacy, right of publicity. So, this is general stuff we see in distributor agreements. And they're like, look, if you do something naughty and you get into trouble because now there's copyright claims against you and all that stuff, A, you're saying you're not going to do it. And then we're going to talk about what's going to happen to you if you do it. And also, they don't want, music that's unlawful, harassing, abusive, tortious. So all of this stuff is very broad for purposes of just protecting these distributors. But the problem that they're like, we don't want your music if it's vulgar. That's their word. We don't want it if it's defamatory, if it's false, if it's intentionally misleading, right? This is where sometimes, and this is rare, and I will say this, the most common stuff that you guys contact my law office about is recouping royalties. And it's because, Crystal, I got locked out of that account. They took down my music. They took down my playlist. This is the most common stuff. It was all lies, and they're telling me that I'm paying for fake bots, and I didn't. And we have a very high success rate with getting accounts reinstated, monies released, all of that. For the more rare instances where it's like, we're not going to distribute your music, or we're taking down your music because, your music is like too political, it's too this, it's too vulgar. Like, these are not defined words. So it just really gives this unilateral right for Symphonic to make all these decisions, and you don't get to say anything about it. You don't even get to challenge it because it was in the contract and you signed it, right? They also include, they're like, you can't impersonate us. This made me laugh. They're like, you agree not to impersonate or attempt to impersonate any other person, which I personally liked. I've been having a problem. I've been having a teensy weensy little problem recently, and maybe I probably should actually address it on the channel real quick, which is, guys, if top music attorney / or / hyphy top music attorney, because I use top music attorney without the slashes, because this is what I'm getting to, messages you. They're like, hey, John, I have a present for you. Or I want you to buy me a present. Or I want to fly you somewhere. I just need you to send me a quick $200. It's not me. All right. The only thing that I'll ever be like, hey, guys, hey, John. Like, I use IG, I use Top Music Attorney Instagram, and I use my email, and I'll talk to you guys if you need help, if you want to get into my course or whatever. But just so you know, I'm not asking you to like pay for shipping or buy me plane tickets or buy me presents. Okay, that would be great, but I'm not asking anyway. So those are my terms of service. We made this into a totally different video. Back to the agreement. So moving on, sub C, further. You represent and warrant that you have not engaged, nor have you authorized or permitted any third party to engage in illegal boosting, fraudulent streaming, juicing activities, or any similar activities designed to artificially inflate the amount of streams, transmissions, plays, views, all the goodies. Now we're finally getting to the good stuff here. Because so far we haven't gotten to the whole like, you agree you're going to forfeit your royalties, we're going to take everything, like some of the other terms of service that we've read. Okay. But now, oh, look at that. That was the blue. I teased it. The blue is where we get into the juicy stuff. So, or you haven't used any methods of fabricating, manipulating, artificially increasing, and boosting. Basically, stop paying for the fake plays. That's what they're saying. And they go, if you do, this is what's going to happen. You will have no legal or equitable interest of any kind or any right whatsoever at any time to receive any royalties or other revenues generated as a result of or any way relating to streams, transmissions, impressions, plays, views, engagement, clicks, logs, or other exploitations of your music, which Symphonic, in its sole and absolute discretion, Symphonic is the judge and jury, sole and absolute discretion, if Symphonic suspects or deems to constitute or otherwise attributes to improper activity. And improper activity was defined up here as all of this, right? Illegal boosting, all the fraudstering. That's a new verb I just came up with. All the fraudstering that they're saying. Become your own record label, which is literally if you're like, hey, I want to start a record label. Cool, I got you. Understand the entire music business. I want to set up my LLC. I want to do the marketing. It's a lot. So for example, sync licensing, for example, music marketing, it's significantly cheaper than anything you would ever get from a law firm as far as all the stuff that comes with it. And you want to make six figures from your music career and you want to do this for real. Like, I'm going to give you what you need. We've looked at TuneCore and CD Baby and DistroKid. And all of them do say something about if you get caught with the boosting, if people even make claims in some instances that you have engaged in copyright infringement, trademark infringement, or something otherwise unlawful. Very, very general language. Then we as the distributor reserve the right to do all kinds of stuff. And how aggressive that all kinds of stuff is has been something that's a little bit different amongst the different distributors. The absolute harshest being TuneCore, hands down, but all of them reserve the rights to basically forfeit your royalties. And to Symphonic's credit, this is actually the only place that they really talk about this. So they don't, spend out of their 10 pages here, they don't spend, a fourth of the agreement just being like all the ways that they're going to take your money and come after you and all this stuff. So that's one positive that I'll at least note. They do reserve the right. They're like, look, if you get caught and you're doing these naughty things, we get to make the decision. That's my problem. As an actual practitioner, as the person who is literally dealing with these distributors for you guys, I can tell you that there's a lot of nonsense as far as I'm like, hey, I'm not even contesting that that's what your contract says. I go, let's pretend we signed it because we did, and we'll take the lashings, so to speak. But like, you need to show me that my client actually did this. And some of the problems have been, including with TuneCore, where they never actually produced evidence. They're like, these are our proprietary ways that we know of the sneakiness. I'm like, okay, so you're just going to say something. I'm at least producing evidence. I'm actually producing things for my clients. So, this is kind of where some of this frustration is coming from. But as it relates specifically to Symphonic, okay, they're saying you don't have any claim. So they're nicer in the way that they're saying. They're like, you don't have any claim to your legal funds. Whereas everyone else is just like, you forfeit it. We're going to come after you. We reserve the right to even sue you for, funds that we've paid you. And our problem with a lot of this stuff is just that it's a little silly. I'm like, you're the bank. Who are you? If you're like, you violated Spotify's terms of service, but you, the distributor, are going to come and take the royalties and keep them for yourselves. You're like all trying to protect Spotify. I'm like, wouldn't you just give the money back to Spotify? Well, no, that's not what they do. So this is my fundamental issue. I digress. Let's move on. All right. Enforcement. We reserve the right to investigate or take action against you in our sole discretion. Okay. Such action may include removing or modifying your music, suspending or terminating your account, and or reporting you to law enforcement authorities. Okay, I did laugh about that. Because I didn't see that or I don't recall seeing that in any of the other distributor terms, because some of them are pretty aggressive. I'm like sweating reading some of their terms, but here they're like, we're gonna drag you to the police. That's not who they would report to, but in any case, that is what it says. Something I just wanted to point out, they go, if you give us feedback. So keep this in mind, because they specifically address if you decide to write a little email, because I wrote some little emails to Symphonic over the issue that I had with them, which I'll tell you guys about. But anyway, apparently this is what they can do with your feedback. If you provide Symphonic with any feedback or suggestions regarding the services, you hereby assign to Symphonic all rights and such feedback and agree that Symphonic shall have the right to use and fully exploit such feedback and relating information in any manner it deems appropriate. Symphonic will treat any feedback you provide as non-confidential and non-proprietary. So like basically they're gonna like use your emails for whatever they want. Now look, in one kind of way, I can just be like, look, if someone's like, oh my gosh, Symphonic is the best, I love them forever, and they want to use that email as a screenshot for their social media or something, I get it. But where this worries me for you guys, and even for myself, is, you don't have an expectation that your feedback, your communications with them is going to be used in any kind of public way, or that it might be used in a commercial, or it might be used for social media or whatever. Just a thought. Moving on, indemnification. We talked about this with the other distributors. So this is common, guys. And this, I don't like it, but it is common. So indemnification is where it says that you indemnify Symphonic, meaning you will pay their attorney's fees if anything happens. If there's ever a third party claim that arises because of whatever, you're using their platform, there was a violation of law, you breached some kind of contract, you screwed over Susie and you didn't give her her 25%, and now Susie's suing, Symphonic. That's normal. As a pro tip, when you see these provisions in contracts that you were signing, you do want to make sure that they're mutual. So meaning, fine, I'll indemnify Symphonic if Susie sues her because of me and because Symphonic didn't have anything to do with it. But if we were actually negotiating this, I would say Symphonic has to indemnify you because something could happen and you could get sued because of the other person. So I just want to make sure you know that, and should make sure you try to make your indemnification provisions mutual. And then this is where we just start just going down and hitting our heads against the wall, which is not just indemnification, but then they get into release. And they're like, hey, just so you know, you hereby release that forever discharge Symphonic and all of our affiliates and respective officers, employees, agents, successors, and assigned, and forever waive and relinquish each and every past, present, future claim, controversy, demand, right, liability, or cause of action of any kind and nature, including personal injury, death, and property damage that arises directly or indirectly out of your use of our services. So they're just like, hey, P.S., you can't sue us for anything. Now, they know, or at least their attorneys know, that this is not actually enforceable in all states. It might be in some, but not all. So they even put a little disclaimer, because in California, California they do not like this kind of nonsense. They don't like huge waivers and you can't sue me for this and my liability is limited to $1. California's cool like that. They really try to make it friendly to, employees and users and things like that. But elsewhere, the stuff can be enforceable. It is enforceable. And so it's a big deal when you're like, hey, I'm just going to release you of all liability because something bad happens. And then reasonably, you should be able to be made whole for those things. So P.S., that's in there. Moving on. Number 6, Section 6, disclaimers. All right. So they're saying you're using their services as is. They make no warranty. The services will meet any requirements that you'll have uninterrupted services. That stuff will be timely. They're saying all this may not ever happen. We're not agreeing that stuff is going to be error-free, that stuff is not going to have viruses or harmful code, or that it will be legal or even safe. And then also, some jurisdiction won't allow this. So just so you guys know, you are agreeing to this. All right. And then this is the last. So this is the trifecta. So the trifecta of indemnification, disclaimers, and then the limitation of liability. Okay. In no event. So now we go somehow we did get past, let's say, all the initial stuff and we sued them. And you said, Crystal, I have been damaged. They took my 80,000 of royalties. Real stuff happening, right? They took my 80,000 of royalties and alleged all this nonsense and I want it back. And then the distributor says, No. And so then our next step or option is to sue them. So then we have to overcome the issues of, well, you signed the contract and it says you're going to release them of liability, right? Well, Section 7 addresses how much you can sue them for. So if you look right here, in no event shall Symphonic have to pay for any indirect, consequential, exemplary, incidental, or punitive damages. It goes on to the fullest extent to the law. We will not pay any more. And there's a limit up to $50. And this includes that if there's more than one claim. If you have a bunch of claims against us, you can't get more than the $50. So, guys, I want to be super straight with you about this, that, for the hundreds and thousands of contracts that I've reviewed, stuff like this is normal in that companies and big companies, they just add this in because it just gives them a lot of protection so that they're not getting sued left, right, and center. And that if they do get sued, the liability might just be $50. So what we do, just so you know, is that we challenge this and we say this is unconscionable, right? It's unfair. And sometimes we can get some of this stuff blue penciled by the court, but not always. Sometimes in the state that you're in, they're like, this is legal. You signed it. You agreed. You had an opportunity to read it. But nonetheless, we're reading it together. And these are my thoughts. Last couple of things here, and then I'll share my thoughts with Symphonic in general. So Section 8, term and termination. We may suspend, we may terminate your right to use the services at any time for any reason, our sole discretion. So, everyone, all the distributors say that. We can kick you off our platform for any reason. Upon termination of this agreement, your account and the right to access the services will terminate. You understand that any termination of your account may involve permanent deletion of your music associated with your account. Small thing, guys, but just make sure your music is backed up. Don't rely on trying to get your music back from your distributor. Okay. And then I made a note for myself. What was it? Oh yeah. So I made a note just in regards to California law. So in California and code 1668, it states that contracts that basically say that they are releasing liability for any fraud, willful injury, violation of law, basically is unenforceable. So just saying there's ways to beat this up. All right. Now here's the fun stuff, sort of, which is if you guys ever have a problem, I always want to point out how you deal with things. Okay. So first and foremost, if you have a copyright claim and you need to file it with Symphonic, this is how you do it. So freeze this, take a screenshot, go look it up yourself, but they have the procedure written out here and they have the email that you have to file. And I want to give you, for those of you who are still watching, all right, I want to show you something that only true nerds could appreciate, which is if someone ever files a takedown for copyright infringement against your music, here's what you're going to say in response. Pursuant to 17 USC section 512, this is what sets forth how music platforms have to handle stuff. If someone files a copyright infringement claim, this is the language that controls. Now, if you scroll all the way down, okay, so we're going all the way down and we're looking for F. We're not looking for big F. We're looking for little f. Any person who knowingly, materially misrepresents under the section that material is infringing or that material or activity was removed or disabled by mistake shall be liable for any damages, including costs and attorney's fees incurred by the alleged infringer. So just if you are someone who ever deals with someone filing a copyright infringement claim against your content, I had someone do this for a content creator. She has a huge Instagram. She's huge on TikTok. I've had people do this for music, clients of mine. But if someone does this and files a fake copyright takedown pursuant to little f, you can actually seek your attorney's fees. So just FYI, this is something that we do because when we have to deal with this and then you have to hire us, we want to make sure that you have a remedy, and that's how we do it. Anyway, let me finish this up. Going back, so contact information. So that's in section 9. Patents, I just wanted to mention this. It popped out to me because they're literally Symphonic is patenting how they're doing their services. I was like, oh, that's interesting. None of the other distributors have anything like this in their terms. So I don't know. I just want to point that out. And then lastly, complaints. If you need to write a complaint to Symphonic, or to report, I should say, and you're a resident in California, here's the information, okay? This agreement is subject to New York law. We saw that in the Tune Course of Service. And lastly, here's the contact information. Now, you're curious of what my thoughts are about Symphonic. And I was taking a peek at all of my emails with them because I never had my moment. I never took my moment to really talk about my experience with them because I had been with them for a couple of years. My label had a deal and it otherwise, was fine because these distributors, and here's the thing, with distributors, generally speaking, things normally go fine. You know what I mean? And so we can say like the TuneCore terms of service are really aggressive. I think that they're unlawful. And, there's people who have been with TuneCore for a long time. They've had a great experience. And it's more of when there's a problem and then you have to go and rely on the contract to defend yourself and to get your royalties and stuff like that. That's when this escalates and someone's like, they're a terrible distributor. So I understand that there's different vacuums that we kind of look at this in. So, I do want to be clear that with Symphonic, I had a generally fine relationship. It's pretty simple. Like you upload stuff for any of these distributors through your account, you tell them when to distribute it, it gets automatically sent to these platforms once it's reviewed. Like it's not complicated. But I did end up having an issue with Symphonic, and here's what happened. So during COVID, I had finally finished my Dangerous Daughters album. So yes, I'm a lawyer. I've been doing music since I was 4. So, I'll never stop. And so this album had just been a labor of love. And there had been so many things that we had to jump through to get it done. And then COVID hit. And so, I'd been promising my followers for a long time that it was coming, right? And we were working up towards that release date and we're super excited. And COVID hits. And then, we can't actually do a release party. We can't tour. We can't do shows. We can't do anything. The only thing that we could do to have a release, kind of thing is to do a live stream. Okay. And so we decided to do the live stream on Facebook and Instagram. And leading up to it, I had just notified Symphonic about it, right? Because at the time, Facebook owns Instagram. So basically, it does the same thing. Whereas today, Meta owns all the things. Anyway, so I just, reached out and, spoke with their customer service. I'm like, hey, just need to make sure that these platforms are whitelisted. And so I gave them the links and all this stuff. And I understand that I'm talking to someone who works for this company. Okay, so I want to be clear about this. When things go awry, because things went awry, but when things go awry and you're, talking with someone and someone had a job and a responsibility, it doesn't mean that this one person was Symphonic talking to me. I'm talking to John, So John, we'll say that's not his name, but John was like, yeah, we got it. No worries, blah, blah, blah. And I even followed up the day before. I'm like, oh, this is such a big deal. And lo and behold, during the actual live stream and the release party, the thing went down on both platforms, copyright infringement, all this stuff, and I got shut down. So, the pages, who knows what could have happened, but obviously it seemed that they had not actually been whitelisted. So perhaps John did not do the thing. The following day and days, I followed up and I just kind of, expressed my deep frustration, and just at the end of the day, just being I was so upset. And the artist kind of thing. But I just go, look, this thing happened. And I, not that they can do anything at that point, but I was just looking for something. And so they ended up escalating it to one of the higher ups. And this is why this matters. I'm talking to the higher up, explaining it and all that. And you know what? They made the decision to kind of put me down and to say that somehow it was my fault, which just makes no sense. Makes no sense in any realm of anything, because what happened is just it got content ID because my distributor distributed it to Facebook. And then they're like, you're infringing. At the end of the day, it was tough for me just as an artist and more of the customer service thing. And I know you guys have the same kinds of things. You reach out and you're just looking for help. And that's why I sympathize so much with what's going on with not only you getting locked out of your accounts, getting your royalties taken, having crappy customer service, or having a higher up in a department for customer service telling you that it was actually your fault and blaming you and not just sympathizing oh my gosh, that really sucks. Whatever. So just because of the way that they had treated me, I made the decision. I'm like, look, I'm good. So, I jumped ship and I took my music catalog elsewhere. And, I'd otherwise been promoting Symphonic up until then. I spoke with the people that I was in contact with and just made them aware and this and that. And so for me, I was just good after that. Okay. So for purposes of just recapping, let's wrap it up with the gavel. The terms of service from what I saw were pretty reasonable as far as comparing them to everyone else. Do I think everyone else and how all of these work is reasonable in itself? No. I think it's very one-sided. I think it's very unfair. And I really wish that there would be a leader that emerged that could be like, you know what? Yes, we're a business, but we understand that artists have to go through us. Artists don't have the right to negotiate these contracts. Artists don't have the right to let us know if they're not okay with something, because they don't have a choice. And to be clear, I'm talking about the majority of independent artists, because yes, there are boutique distributors that maybe you can negotiate your deal with. There are big distributors who work with the majors who also might sign you, okay? There may be exceptions to what I'm saying. What I'm talking about are the DIY distributors like DistroKid and Symphonic and CD Baby and TuneCore, and just being like, I'm not for someone who deals with these companies directly and the issues that I've had with some of them and their legal representation and what they say and how they treat artists versus maybe these little isolated incidents of it's really tough when there's like poor customer service and they're not managing these things well. And then we have the actual contract. You obviously don't care that much about artists. And what do you guys think? Should they? Because here's the thing, they are just a business. My biggest complaint here is that just it's a type of business where we wish that someone would quit. We wish that someone would put themselves out there for artists because other people aren't and companies aren't. And distributors are just glorified banks. And so when we see that they are exploiting artists and being like, hey, you forfeit your royalties, the second we get wind of even a claim of something, we're literally just going to take all of your royalties. And for some of our clients who this is a huge part of their business because they actually work really hard on their marketing and they have great streams and they make good money. So all of a sudden 50 grand is locked in an account. I would hope they wouldn't have to get a lawyer. That's what I'm trying to say. I would hope that they would be able just to go through customer service and get this resolved, but they don't. They contact me and then I break down the door and we get a response. And like I said, we have a very high success rate and that's great and everything, but it doesn't change my general frustration. So guys, I'm really curious for those of you who are signed with Symphonic, who can share your experience, drop a comment down below. I'm so excited to be helping you with your music careers and for you to be part of our top music attorney community. So make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, as you see, your attack is on. So, what I would say to y'all, is be careful trying to get on these playlists. Be careful who you distribute to. Because I never even heard of Symphonic. And the one guy's company, I never heard of them. And be careful because as you see, game is on. MBR to death. Like, comment, subscribe, tap in. Oh yeah, and stream and cop the music. We're out. Holla.